All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Bidon Adventures. Now, it's not all Instagram life, highlights, glory, and all that. There is maintenance to this. So, just done a video before the walkthrough, so I'll do another one. But we're doing maintenance and upkeep. So, 4 days on the beach, sand, salt, sea mist, rust. It always is going to happen. Now, I take this car on the beach all the time camping. It is hot, so I'll do a quick one today. But what I do is, before I go away, I always wash the car. And then I use Inox. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I spray it everywhere. You pretty much, once the car's clean, you just spray Inox over your whole chassis, in the rails, in the chassis holes, everywhere. Everywhere on the leaf springs too, except for the shackles here, because they're so lubricated, it moves. So when you drive it, every time you turn a corner, a pump everywhere under the car, all through, sprayed on everything. It's pretty much just fish oil, it's anti-rust. Get it from Bunnings in a spray can, 15 bucks or 13 bucks, but you can get a big drum of it, put it in your own spray bottle, everywhere, except for the paint, obviously. The paint will come to later, but I pump it everywhere. So it's like a bond between the raw, or it's not the raw, it's a bond between the chassis and the salt. So when I gurney it, it just falls off. It is that good. It's like polished to dust and dirt. So I've already gurneyed it once. The sand is never going to fully leave your car. It always comes up. So I give it two. I do it one big gurney, and then I go through with the product, which I'll show in a second, and wash it all out. But Inox and a clean car before you go away, you got to do it, and then everything comes off really quickly. So that's what I do. That's what we're up to. Already gurneyed it. The second step is I go through. Now the products I use is Bowden owns, because I have no affiliation with them whatsoever. I just like them. They're good products. I've been using them for years. They're cheap, they're affordable, and they're quality. So I go through the snow job after I've gurneyed it all. All right. The other thing what I like about it is, I'm pretty sure, there you go, proudly Australian made and owned. So big fan of that sort of stuff here in Australia. You all should be. So I'm going to go through. You don't need to buy a snow cannon, spend all that money, like 100 bucks. Just get one, an old empty bottle. All right, it's not Boss Boss, obviously. I fill it up with that, and I think that gurney piece attachment was 5 bucks. Chuck that on, and we're gonna snow cone the entire car top to bottom. Now I'll give you an example. All right, pump, all right? There you go, so you get the idea. We go through the whole undercarriage of the car, in the rails, everywhere that I put Inox, I put that, okay? Then I'm gonna go over the entire car, do that, let that sit for 5 minutes, gurney it all off, then we're good to wash it. Now, this is just maintenance. This is what it takes. If you like your car and you want it salt-free and you want to keep it from rusting, you got to do these sort of things, unfortunately. It takes time, pre and post-trip, but it gets you out there. So we're going to do that today. Then we're going to do a bit of a paint correction on the entire car. We're going to degrease the entire car, pull off. I had ceramic coating on there from probably 4 years now, and I haven't been doing any upkeep work on it, and I can see it pulling away. So we're going to decontaminate that. We're going to degrease it all, clay bar it, pull everything right back, and then we're going to put a Bowden own, it's called Paint Restore, so pretty much like a buffing sort of wax on it, or polish. So I'm going to buff that all back. All right, like I was saying, snow cone, pump it everywhere, so it just soaks in that for about 5 minutes. So you got Inox base, you wash it all off, so there's not a whole lot of sand and salt on the car already. And then you go through, you pump it with this product, and then you let it sit for 5 minutes. Then you hose it all off again, and then that's when you would wash the car. But like I said, we're gonna do a bit of paint restore. So once that's all done, we'll go through and go over like paint chips and blemishes in certain lights. And when I wear my Polaroid sunnies, you can see through here, and especially through here, you can see it gets foggy. It's probably the best way to describe it. And it right here, I don't know if you can pick that up. There you go, right through here. And that's pretty much I'm gonna say that's the ceramic coating I put on 4 years ago that's pulling away. I also got this build up here. That honestly looks like a bit of rust coming through, which I don't know how that is rust, but that all needs to get stripped off. I don't know what that is. Anyway, I want to see what happens. That's under the paint, so that's a completely different story. That'll be a whole door respray one day. But So I'm gonna go through and take any blemishes, touch up paint, stone chips, all that sort of mumbo jumbo. And then we got a little bit of rust spots here. Where are we? A few rust spots here, thanks to Toyota, and their thin paint that they put on these cars is ridiculous, like up in here. So that's on that's on this episode's job and how we're going to do that. So I'll sand them back, I'll tape them around and do a little bit of a wet sand here as well. This all happened on my old Troopy. I get a few stone chips and the paint wears away and you don't realize, you don't really see it. And then you do, you know, a bit of salt work or ocean and rust builds. But especially up under this grate, if you take this off, which I've already done, you're gonna find rust spots in there 100%. So FYI, get through there, cut and polish, pull that all back, give it a bit of protection. That's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna have to degrease all of this, and it should feel like a bit like a chalky feeling. And once we degrease it and scrub through, and then you're gonna go through and do the clay bar, and that's when it's gonna feel real smooth and nice and feel like somewhat good new paint. The ceramic coat gone, so it was really good. I can see why they put them in sports cars and stuff like that for stones, hitting the car on the freeway and all that. And you think stone chips on this would be great. I've gone through pinstripes on trees, and you can actually see where it would indent through the stick but not hit the paint. So it's like a glass barrier, not a wax, not like a sealant, like a glass barrier before it hits the paint. It was awesome, but the upkeep on it, I feel, is too hard. So, and it's really hard to get it set without any wind or dust. I got the 80 and the guy pumped like 4 or 5 layers of wax on it, and I was looking at that and how well that pulls up. And then I did wax my car with Bowden's own product. It's a beeswax, I'll show you when I do it. And that was on my ute, and every time I washed the ute, everything came off it so well. So I'm like, I'm gonna pull it all back, restart, and cover it all in a shitload of wax. Probably not 5 layers, but I'll probably at least do 2 to 3 heavy layers. And there's a buff before I do that, so that's thin corners, you know, through here, all through here, it all just comes off. It's annoying. The other big job, I'm not gonna tap on this today, but during COVID, sitting still for so long, we got mold all up in the silicon of the joint of the roof conversion. And it's super annoying. You wash your car and it looks all good, and then you're looking at this. So I'm gonna have to go through and cut that out and pull it all out. So now we've done that wash. That was all just because of the salt and sand, because we've been away. Now we have to kind of do it again. We're gonna put in the orange agent, which is the degreaser, this product here. Now it's a 500ml bottle. The other thing about Bowden's that I like, again, no connection to them, is their website is super informative. So they reckon if you're using a litre, you use 100 mils and 100 mils. Now, real simple math, we're using 500ml bottle here. I'm using a separate bottle because I don't ever want to have degreaser go near my car when I wash it again. So this one's just the snow job, all right? And I'll throw this one out after. So we're gonna do 50 mils and 50 mils mixed with water, that's the ratio. Then I'm gonna walk around and spray on certain parts of the car and touch it up with a sponge. Again, this sponge I'm gonna have to wash and keep separate, because anything that stays on here, degreaser, when I wash it again with all that wax that I put on, it'll pull it away. So it's hard. You got, you know, it's like a pencil and eraser. Think of that. Every time you touch it with the eraser, the pencil's gonna go away. So everything has to be separate. That's the next step. That's what we're gonna do now. So that's where she's sitting. Came out nice and thick. So let that sit for maybe 3 to 4 minutes. Now they don't say to, but I'm gonna do it anyway. While we're at it, I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna scrub it all back. Just try and get a little bit of extra stuff out of it. And then I'm gonna hose it all off. And then I'll go around with that orange gun, the orange agent solo. And if I see any blemishes extra, just go through and wipe them off. So this degreaser is just slowly pulling away any grime. Hopefully it's breaking up that ceramic coating for me as well. Anything that's kind of just holding on to the paint, old waxes and polishes I've ever put on, So we'll see how this goes. But for now, a little wipe, and then we'll go through with the touch-ups. The orange agent one more time, just scrubbed every part of the panels, and then I hosed it all off. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna park it up in the shed, let it dry, and then tomorrow I'm gonna go at it and clay bar it with a decontamination spray. That would make it at its all-time raw, and then we'll have to just wash it, and then we go from there. But when you take away all the sealants, it doesn't like bead off. I don't know if you can see that, but it drizzles off, like runs off really dry, and the car just feels, it doesn't have that smooth glide like it used to with the ceramic coat. Like I can already tell and see it's coming off. There's a few more steps we're gonna do, including the buff. The buff will get a lot of it off, but this just pulled off all little waxes and sealants I put on the car. It's gonna make it a better position for the touch-up paint and everything I want to do to bond better. But yeah, just, I don't know if you can see that. It's a bit hard seeing it on a white car, but even like how that runs off, should just bead off it if it had like a layer of wax or silicone, a layer of wax or some sort of barrier on top of it, but dribbling on. But that's it, that's enough rubbing today. All it is really good music and a lot of rubbing. So I'm like, yeah, some people's Friday night, I guess. But that will do for now, and tomorrow we'll come back and we'll start the whole process again of what we're going through. All right, day 2. So finish off with the degreaser. We just parked her up in the shed and left her. It's a bit hard to see, but you can see some parts breaking down, like right here. So I left it overnight right there. I don't want to leave it outside because it's open to all the elements. It's a nice cool day for me to stand around and scrub and rub the car. But this is the next part. We have, like I said, it's all Bowden's products. So clay bar. I'm gonna spray. Yeah, this stuff stinks. 3-way. And it'll go purple. And then you just rub it down with the clay bar. And we pretty much have to rub every single inch of these panels. And when you do like a section, so let's say we run through this section here, you probably want to hose that off. So yeah, you're gonna hose it off as you go. If a lot of stuff is in the paint or on top of the paint, like metals and toxins and whatever, you just have to go over it over and over again. You probably find a lot sitting on the bonnet because it's a flat horizontal position. That leaves the paint completely exposed. Then I'll go do my touch-ups, do a few layers of that, park it back in the shed, and then we're gonna buff it with a buffer. Bought a big wheel, I got a electric buffer, and then we're gonna do the wax. I'll show you the wax. So when we buff it, let's go back a step. We buff with this product. I've already used it a few times on the XR6, really good. And then this stuff's expensive actually. That is the wax. So, and I've already used that before. It smells awesome. It smells like Jaffa. So your car does smell pretty good for a long time. And you go over with the applicator pad, and then you smooth it off. Got a bit of mold on, I've got to wash them, clean them up. But you pay a lot of money for this stuff and it lasts for ages on the car, lasts a long time on, well, lasts a long time in the jar. Like you can use it multiple times, so it's kind of worth its weight in gold, I guess. But that's where we're at. So next step, second, third, these two will be probably tomorrow. Probably get through this and then some touch-up paint and sanding back on some panels. Fat rust, there's better light now, it's not as bright, and you probably can cut polish a lot of this stuff off, but I wouldn't mind just sanding it in there. Just, there's nothing in the gutters, which is good. Corners, the clay bar, and then honestly, it is, like I said, just a good playlist and some patience, and you just rub back and forth, and you'll feel it gets smooth. Probably pick up some dirty parts in there. It's not the first time I've done this, so I know what I'm in for when you sort of mentally prepare for it, but yeah. And then scrub. corners are the easiest because there's not a lot of areas to work on. You don't get overwhelmed and cut corners, pun intended. But yeah, this is it. This will be me for the next couple of hours, so you don't need to see that. I'll just come back and forth when I feel like I need to show you something, but you get the idea. All right. So things are heating up. We've got the head torch on. We're in the shed. There's no light in here. And we will just go through using the light. I'm just gonna find some spots. Touch up paint first. Just color spec to the code. I've noticed when you do this, you put 1 or 2 on. You use the gurney, they come off anyway. So we'll do about 3 or 4 coats. And based with the wax too, I won't use the gurney anymore on the outside of the car. I'm going to be underneath. I have to use a bit more delicate way with the hose, but that's where we're at. So touch up paint next, a little bit of sanding and rust proofing next on some other stuff like that. And then tomorrow, once that's all dried, we start buffing it. So here we go, boys. So rub the whole car, been rubbing it for days. I got bored, so we gave it a few days in between. Just here and there after work. So we're up to the wax. I've done 3/4 of the car. It's looking good. I'm chuffed with this product. That's the stuff. This is the application pad. All you do is chuck it in, left to right. Let that dry for 20. Rub it off with chamois. I just use big rag. And what I've done is every time I've come in, done, let's say, the side of the car, I've gone back and done an extra coat on top of the bonnet. And the bonnet sits there in the sun the most. It's gonna, deteriorate and pull away faster than anywhere else in the car, I reckon. Plus, when you're on the beach and all the salt, all that stuff just falls and sits, and the seam just falls on the bonnet. So for you to be able to wash that off faster with the wax coat on top, I think that's the way to go. So I've done 2, I'm about to do 3, and then I just got to do 1 more side of the car, but it's good stuff, good product. We're almost there. It's a lot of rubbing, so I'd say it's not too bad for a 4-wheel drive sort of car. It's pretty good reflection there. We are in a nice dark shed, so not much to see. Bit of reflection on the bonnet, but again, it's a long process. I remember now how much I hated doing this on the XR6. I do regret starting it, but let's see if we can see here. So I've done through here, nice shine, and you can see all those little blemishes through there. And again, this is just nice, clean. That's just a stone chip. Nice, clean reflection there, and a bit flat here. So we still have to do the back doors, and we've got 1 more side to do. And whilst I'm doing this side, there's the lovely devil. While we're doing this side here, I'll also do a 3rd coat on the bonnet. I reckon we should be done today. And then we're gonna pull it out in this rain and get dirty, and it was all for nothing, I suppose, but projects, underestimating the time frame and overcommitting, but car paint sucks. And we went fishing too. We went fishing and tested out some boat seats, so that put me behind schedule. So let's rip in. All right, boys, we're all done. This is it. We spent a few days rubbing it back, putting a whole bunch of cream and white goodness all over this thing, rubbing it off, do it again, over and over again. Now, I broke this up in a few days, a little bit after work each day, but it was a mammoth job, a lot of rubbing, a lot of circular motions, but I ended up doing 4 layers on the bonnet. I couldn't help myself because you're always looking at that when you're driving. Look at that. Not bad for a, what was this, 2010? So what are we talking, 14 years. 14-year-old paint. Not bad. Anyway, so peace of mind every time I'm on the salt or on the beach camping, or I don't get around to washing it straight away, but we've got layers, we've got protection. I'm sure there's probably a little bit of ceramic coat I couldn't get off. I'm no professional detail, but washed, decontaminated, clay bar, paint restore, pretty much cut and polish, followed by a wax. Now, all Bowden's products, not affiliated, but I do like their stuff, and my God, it comes up good. Goes on easy, it comes off easy, and that is that. That is the end of the episode. I'm done rubbing this car. We're gonna pack it away. There's a big storm coming. Still gotta let it cure for about 6 hours, and then we're good to go. So that's it now for the Troopy. Pack her up and moving back onto another project. So done and dusted. So thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and if you have any comments, comment below. I'll get back to you, and see you next time.